Today's spending review delivers on the priorities of the British people. Our health emergency is not yet over, and our economic emergency has only just begun. So our immediate priority is to protect people's lives and livelihoods. But today's spending review also delivers stronger public services, paying for new hospitals, better schools, and safer streets. And it delivers a once-in-a-generation investment in infrastructure, creating jobs, growing the economy, increasing pride in the places we call home. Mr. Speaker, our immediate priority is to protect people's lives and livelihoods. So let me begin by updating the House on our response to coronavirus. We're prioritising jobs, businesses, and public services. The furlough scheme, support for the self-employed, loans, grants, tax cuts and deferrals, as well as extra funding for schools, councils, the NHS, charities, culture and sport. Today's figures confirm that taken together, we are providing £280 billion to get our country through coronavirus. Next year, to fund our programmes on testing, PPE, vaccines, we are allocating an initial £18 billion. To protect the public services most affected by coronavirus, we are also providing £3 billion to support NHS recovery, allowing them to carry out up to 1 million checks, scans and operations. Over £2 billion to keep our transport arteries open, subsidising our rail networks. Over £3 billion to local councils, and an extra £250 million to help end rough sleeping. And while much of our coronavirus response is UK-wide, the government is also providing £2.6 billion to support the devolved administrations in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Taken together, next year, public services funding to tackle coronavirus will total £55 billion. Mr. Speaker, let me turn to the OBR's economic forecasts. And can I thank the new chair, Richard Hughes, and his whole team for their work. The OBR forecasts the economy will contract this year by 11.3%, the largest fall in output for more than 300 years. As the restrictions are eased, they expect the economy to start recovering, growing by 5.5% next year, 6.6% in 2022, then 2.3%, 1.7% and 1.8% in the following years. Even with growth returning, our economic output is not expected to return to pre-crisis levels until the fourth quarter of 2022. And the economic damage is likely to be lasting. Long-term scarring means in 2025, the economy will be around 3% smaller than expected in the March budget. Mr. Speaker, the economic impact of coronavirus and the action we've taken in response means that there has been a significant but necessary increase in our borrowing and debt. The UK is forecast to borrow a total of £394 billion this year, equivalent to 19% of GDP, the highest recorded level of borrowing in our peacetime history. Borrowing falls to £164 billion next year, £105 billion in 22-23, then remains at around £100 billion, 4% of GDP, for the remainder of the forecast. Underlying debt, after removing the temporary effect of the Bank of England's asset purchases, is forecast to be 91.9% of GDP this year. And due to elevated borrowing levels and a forecast persistent current deficit, underlying debt is forecast to continue rising in every year, reaching 97.5% of GDP in 25-26. 2026. High as these costs are, the costs of inaction would have been far higher. But this situation is clearly unsustainable over the medium term. We could only act in the way we have because we came into this crisis with strong public finances. And we have a responsibility, once the economy recovers, to return to a sustainable fiscal position. Mr. Speaker, this is an economic emergency. That's why we have taken and continue to take extraordinary measures to protect people's jobs and incomes. And it is clear those measures are making a difference.